What's up everyone, it's me Ollie, and today I'm bringing you my Blessed Hammer Paladin for Diablo 4 Season 11. So, for those that don't know me, I'm a spin to win lover. I play Whirlwind on Barb, and honestly Blessed Hammers is the best I've gotten on Paladin. It feels really good. Zill, actually you can do some interesting things with Zill, but Blessed Hammers actually spin around you, it feels really nice to play. Blessed Hammer is also our best farming build. For Paladin, Blessed Hammer is the one that you can farm the fastest on pits. It's also really a great overall build for you to do bosses, to do any type of content in the game. And Blessed Hammer is actually used on the best build for Paladin right now, the Judgment build. Although that build is not as great for farming, so I personally prefer to play this one. It can still push, like doing the just damage with Blessed Hammers without Judgment, can still push like 125, probably even more, because people are just not focusing on that one right now. It still has incredible damage, and it just felt the just better overall build for me. I still need to mess around a lot more with the Hammerdin and the wings, but Blessed Hammer, I love it. I loved playing it before, and it's back. The hammer just spinning around you, it's amazing. For me, it feels the spin twin fantasy on Paladin quite well. So, I'm gonna be covering the whole all of that in the video, so everything's gonna be down below on the timestamps. So if you know what I'm talking about and you just wanna see the gear and whatever, you can just jump around and, you know, so you don't get lost, I guess. Let's actually get into the build, shall we? So I'm gonna actually start with our oath, since this is kind of an important thing for this build. We are running the Disciple oath. Basically what this does, anytime you cast a Disciple skill that has a cooldown, something like your Falling Star, you will basically proc Arbiter for 4.5 seconds, which can be extended, we'll talk about that in a second, and your Disciple skills will do 50% increased damage while you are in Arbiter form, which will be 100% of the time. So your Blessed Hammer gets converted into Disciple, which we'll cover in a second in the skill tree, and now does 50% more damage as well as having 100% uptime on Arbiter, which we'll see why it's so good. Jumping into our skill tree. So one thing that I'm doing that I don't see a lot of people doing here is running Advance with Flash of the Blade. This makes Advance a Disciple skill with 10-second cooldown. You can, right now, I believe I have 5 seconds. You can see the 30% I have from the Paragon, right? Basically, I have this on a 5-second cooldown. It's a really nice mobility tool. It also applies vulnerable, which is nice, but doesn't really matter. It's just a really nice mobility tool. It's also a Disciple skill with cooldown now, so that also procs your oath, which is very nice. Blessed Hammers, of course, we're taking the passive Disciple Halo. This makes Blessed Hammer a Disciple skill, which, you know, benefits from the 50% from your oath, and also makes the hammer spin around you, dealing a lot more damage. This is just a Blessed Hammer fantasy, right? It's amazing. Passives, make sure to take your block. You'll have to cap your block here. Nothing big. Other than that, I take 2 auras, right? I take Fanatism Aura and Defiance Aura. Any extra points I have left over anywhere, I put on the Fanatism Aura. Just make sure it's easier to cap your attack speed and crit chance. Other than that, just fill in your passives, get a bunch of damage. Falling Star, I'm taking Free Fall for an additional charge. This will make it so you constantly have it, no matter what. This resets every time you kill a vulnerable enemy. It's kinda hard once you get this build going, actually killing vulnerable enemies, because you just kill them before they even become vulnerable, you just one-shot them. But, you know, sometimes you get some free resets and it's very nice. Condemn, also another way to proc, by the way, as well as Falling Star. Condemn, also Disciple skill with cooldown. This also procs your oath. You don't quite need to run it, but it just feels quite nice to run it, so why not? And lastly, the other skill you're gonna put points on, it's gonna be Arbiter of Justice. You're not gonna be casting this, but you're still gonna take some points here, especially to get Seraph's Wings. Seraph's Wings, very nice to apply vulnerable if you're fighting something like a boss or something, but the biggest thing is the 100% movement speed. Basically, this passive alone just caps your movement speed. You don't have to worry about getting movement speed on your boots or anything like that. You're capped. It's amazing. Lastly, key passive, coat of arms, sorry. Exaltation, it can be nice early on while leveling, but coat of arms is just basically best in slot for every single paladin, I believe, so yeah. Maybe run judgment for judgment builds, but everything else you just run coat of armor. Basically it's just broken. You wanna cap block, you wanna cap a bunch of armor, so it just gives you the best multiplier. Jumping into our Paragon. Our Paragon, the biggest one, Castle. This is an insane multiplier. It says 1.2, it's constantly changing, right? Once you go into combat, this can easily get up to 2k% increased damage, right? It's absolutely insane. You're gonna be running Owned here for the actual crit damage. The faith you get is also very decent to keep your Blessed Hammers going. Then you're gonna be running Relentless. Relentless is somehow one of the worst multipliers you have on Paladin, somehow, but you get 30% free cooldown just by moving around. You're always moving on Blessed Hammer, so, you know, amazing. The other thing, Canny, it's gonna be even more damage here, so, you know, just take it. A lot of damage, very good. Non-physical damage, which our Blessed Hammers are holy damage for those that don't know. Preacher, very good. You might think, hey, isn't this for Zealot skills? The first part, yes, you don't get the 15% increased attack speed on Blessed Hammers. However, the increased damage equal to 65% of your attack speed you do get. You have baseline 100% attack speed, so you just by taking this you get 65% damage, but by capping your cap 1 attack speed, you can easily get up to 130%. After that it gets a bit wonky, I believe. But this is just better multiplied than anything else, and we're not really getting more than the cap 1, because Paladin has a really hard time getting cap 2 attack speed, so just cap the cap 1 and be good. You'll be good. Lastly, Shield Bearer. I was gonna say Barbarian. Any Paladin build that's using block just runs this. Incredible multiplier. If you're running block, just no-brainer. And then you also have Apostle. This is very nice for any Disciple builds, which our Blessed Hammer is. Just an insane amount of increased damage. Very good, you know, take it. Our gear. So we're starting off on the Mythics. Our Perdition, this is a core skill build. Our Perdition is just busted, 60% multiplier. Masterwork and Jado's core skills for even juicier damage. Shadow False Dead. Amazing. Paladin has a lot of strong passives, like 6% passives and like 8 to 10 of them. It's crazy. You get an insane amount of value from Shadow False Dead on Paladin. Also just Masterwork and Jado's all stats for even juicier damage. Ring of the Starless Skies. Amazing ring. You don't quite need it to play this build, but it just makes the build play so much better. Try to get those Masterworks on the core skills and GA on it. If you're missing a bit of attack speed, Masterwork the attack speed, right? If you're depending on the GAs you have, right? It's just really flexible. It's an amazing ring for us. When it comes to our uniques, Herald of Morningstar. This is basically every single core skill on Paladin has a signature weapon. Herald of Morningstar is a signature weapon for Blessed Hammer. It's an insanely good weapon. There's no reason at all for you to run any other weapon, even if you just have a shitty version of this one, alright? Just use this one, you can never go wrong. Other unique we're running, Argent Veil. Since we are playing with our Arbiter, every time you dodge with Arbiter, which feels incredibly smooth, by the way, I must say. You can dodge through walls as well, it's incredible. You will spawn 1 or 2 Blessed Hammers. Now, if you dodge the full distance, you'll easily spawn 2 of them, but, you know, 1 or 2. It's really nice. You basically dodge, attack, dodge, attack. The reason you do that is because thanks to the passives you have here, we're gonna cover the boots in a second, but, you know, with this aspect and the passive, you can easily reset with a single cast of another Blessed Hammer. It feels amazing to play, and this combo is kind of the reason why Blessed Hammer is our top, like, pit farming build for Paladin. If you go look at the site for the pit pushing, if you go to the speed farming, it's all Blessed Hammer. It's amazing. The other one I'm going to be running Herald of Zakarum. This is an amazing shield on Paladin, especially early on to capture block, but later on for core skills, it's still quite competitive with a legendary shield. It a lot of times ends up being slightly more damage than a legendary shield. It's extremely close, it's gonna kinda depend on your stats. Either or, you can't go wrong when it comes to damage, although you'll have to change a bit the masterwork priority, right? Because if you have a legendary shield, you don't need to worry too much about chance for Blessed Hammer to deal double damage. And, you know, if you happen to have a chance for Blessed Hammer to deal double damage already GA'd or something like that, you can just take additive damage or on guard. Legendary shield is extremely flexible. Not only that, legendary shields, although the damage is quite close, assuming you would be running a 70% aspect, which we don't have here. I'm gonna cover the aspect things in a second though. Assuming you're running a 70% aspect, they're extremely close damage-wise. However, the legendary shield completely blows the Herald of Zakarum out of the water when it comes to defenses. Herald of Zakarum gives you roughly anywhere between like 10 to 15% damage reduction overall, and the legendary shield gives you, you know, 35 if you masterwork and get damage reduction, which honestly you should. Even if you don't masterwork the damage reduction, baseline, it will still give you more than the Herald of Zakarum. Just by having a non-GA, non-masterwork one, it will still give you basically the same, if not more, than the Herald of Zakarum. So if you care more about defenses, let's say you're playing hardcore and stuff like that, legendary shield is definitely the play for you. If you're pushing, it's also something you might consider, because the damage difference is so small that, you know, if you're pit pushing, it does help. I'll cover pit push in another build though, because I don't want to make this build too long. Now, when it comes to our legendaries, right, Amulet, just get the highest amount of passives you can. I only have a strength and double passive here. It's really hard to get one with multiples, and you want to run damage while in arbiter form. You can also run on guard. I'm not 100% sure which is better right now. It will depend on how much percent armor you already have. So on guard might be better here. I'm still kind of figuring that out. Either or, they're very close, because on Paladin you don't have that much additive damage, so it's very nice to get some additive damage here and there. When it comes to, let's actually cover our boots. This is the most important one. Boots. You want really important faith per second on your boots. Strength, max life, armor, ideally. Ideally, you want to GA the strength and master GA the strength, right? Here I have the armor because it's the boots I have. One thing I do want to mention here, really important, you need boots with passives to reduce evade cooldown, right? This is how you instantly reset the cooldown on your arbiter dodge, right? This is how you do it. So make sure, or evade, whatever. They use those terms interchangeably, right? Actually, I use it, but the game actually has a different, but you know, whatever. It basically reduces your evade cooldown instantly whenever you do it, because you also have the aspect for arbiter's evade cooldown is reduced by 3 seconds, so basically it goes down to 1 second, and then you cast a Blessed Hammer, it instantly resets and you can go again. Really important that you get that passive. When it comes to the temper, also extremely important, make sure to GA arbiter duration and masterwork it. This should be enough for you to easily, with the 3 skills you have that can proc it, this should be more than easily enough cover. Basically makes your arbiter have 9 seconds duration. It's really easy to keep it up at that point. If you want another safety net, I personally run this for my general playstyle, because it just feels better to have that additional duration. It just feels smoother, I don't have to ever worry about it. It's very nice. When it comes to the stats on your gloves, of course you want to get ideally GA Blessed Hammer and masterwork that. When it comes to the rest of the stats, attack speed and crit, depending on what you're missing, depending on your GS. For example, I'm a bit crit overcapped on this build because I got crit chance on my Hair Perdition, but depending on what you have, you can, normally you have both of them, but you can sometimes cut one of them off if need be. Strength is not mandatory. Ideally, you want life on hit. However, personally, since I got life on hit on Bring the Starless, I don't need it on the gloves. But if you don't have it, the gloves are the prime spot to have the life on hit for this build. What's up guys, Acting Loy here. I kind of forgot talking about the aspects, so we're gonna talk about them here. We're running the Holy Punishment on the gloves, but there is technically a stronger aspect that you can run. However, that aspect needs you, that aspect being aspect of Celestial Strife, that aspect needs enemies to be vulnerable to do increased damage. The thing is, Blessed Hammer just kind of one-shots every single content right now, besides Pit. If you go do bosses with Blessed Hammer, you can't really stack this up anyway. And yeah, Pit is the only place you can actually care about this. If the enemies actually survive a couple of hits, you can definitely make full use of this. It's very good for Pit. Outside of Pit, not so much, right? Because thing is, to apply vulnerable, you apply it with your Arbiter. Your Arbiter applies vulnerable, but that needs you to be somewhat close to the enemies. If they just get one shot, you can't apply it. Alternatively, you could run Exploit, assuming the enemies even survive the first hit to get hit by the second one. Exploit will reduce your damage as well. You know, it's not really that great for general play. For Pit, definitely use this one, alright? For general play, I don't quite advise it. And now, back to the video. Lastly, your pent. Again, really important to have that faith per second. This is how you can go completely generateless. That's a word, right? Whatever. You don't even need rally, you don't need anything. This will keep you fully topped off on your resource. Again, strength, max life, armor, right? And on guard, just to cap your block. If you're playing with Herald of Zakarum, you only need to get one on guard passive, one on guard temper, and that will cap your block. If you're playing with a legendary shield, you will need to masterwork the on guard on the pent with GA, or you'll need to have it on your amulet as well, or on the shield, right? Those are kind of our options. When it comes to the aspect, of course, Indomitable, an insane amount of armor that you get. This thing currently goes over the if you have a bit over block, right? If you are a bit over block cap, this keeps going up. I don't believe the affect applies. It basically stops at 140 anyway, but you know. It's an insane amount of armor, which increases your damage and makes you beefier, which is amazing. Now, let's jump into the Sanctification, and we're gonna go onto the planner for that. Sanctification wise, let's actually start with the mythics we want on this build. Starting off, Shaco. Shaco is incredibly good. It makes you super tanky. It also gives you a bunch of ranks to Blessed Hammer, which increases your damage, and to all your auras, which makes, you know, attack speed and crit capping much easier. The other one, Grandfather. Basically, it just doubles your damage, right? Nothing, you don't need to say anything else, just doubles your damage. It's an amazing one. And the last one we're gonna be running is gonna be Starless. Starless, ideally, you want it on the amulet. This is not super realistic, because it's gonna be really hard to get it on a good amulet. But hey, ideally you want it on the amulet, just get whatever else you want it, wherever else you can get it. The reason we want it on the amulet, right, it's because Starless is one of the few mythics, there's a couple others that can do this, that scale with the slot they're in, like aspects, for example, right? Okay, if you put Starless on a two-handed weapon, you get 100% instead of the 50, right? This does not happen with, for example, Shaco or Grandfather. It would be busted for Grandfather as well, but for Starless it does happen. So try to have it on the amulet if you can, right? Other than that, the only two aspects we want on this build are going to be Inner Calm and what's your name again? I keep forgetting the name of these things. Like, I'm really bad with names. And Edge Master, right? You want Inner Calm and Edge Master as your aspects. Other than that, the other aspects we can't really get. For example, Elements we can't get for some reason, even though it's generic offensive aspect. Mostly, other than that, just get holy damage everywhere else, except the gloves. I feel like core skills are still better than holy damage. It's extremely close, but either or are good. There are some other good outcomes, like for example strength. Strength is very decent. You can just come down here and you'll see them here. Aspects, these two. When it comes to the other ones, on your rings And Amulet, you can get all skill ranks, very good, increase your damage a good amount. Cooldown reduction is decent, it's not that big of a deal. Strength, all stats, percent strength, all increase your damage significantly. And max life is also decent, right? One thing I do want to point out, you might see that I don't have weapon quality there. Weapon quality is technically very good, because not only does it increase, for example, the amount of passives on your weapon, the amount of stats on your weapon, which your weapon already has a lot of offensive stats, right? But it should also increase the base damage of the weapon. Sadly, it's not currently doing that, probably because it's a bug. So, you know, you can't really use it. If it gets fixed, make sure you get quality on your weapon and just move the intercom somewhere else. But until it's fixed, this is just the best you can go for. When it comes to our runes, I'm personally just running Sam Om right now. It feels really nice. You're constantly dodging, you can basically have 100% uptime on Warcry. Very nice. And the other one we're running is Ignite Tool. Tool also gives you a 15% multiplier, gives you some freeze, gives you vulnerable if you need. It's a very good option as well. When it comes to proccing, you also have some other options, like for example Tem. Really nice because you're just constantly casting your Blessed Hammer. Other than that, when it comes to the runes you're proccing, you can run the Care rune that procs the Bulwark Shield from Druid. Very nice defensively, you can basically have 100% uptime on it. You can also run the Shroud from Rogues for a bit more defensive. And you can run the Decrepify, I believe that's the name for the Necro one. I don't play Necro, I believe that's the one. It's basically the one that executes enemies whenever they go below 10% HP, and also gives you some defensive stuff. It's a very decent option as well. When it comes to pushing, Quacks can be good, but if you're not pushing at all, don't play Quacks, alright? Our Quacks is nice for pushing, potentially. Anything else outside of pushing, just don't, alright? Alright, mercenary-wise, there's not a lot to talk about here, so I'm just gonna go real quick. They don't really impact you that much anymore. When it comes to the one I prefer, Variania as your main, gives you a bit of attack speed if you need, very decent, also gives you Taste of Flesh. This is incredibly good for survivability. If you don't care too much about that and you don't feel like you need this healing, you can also go with either Subo or right here for a slight increase of damage. It's very, very small. It doesn't really matter much and I prefer to have the healing, but those two are good options as well, especially for farming. Subo, a lot of people like the X-ray thing going on, right? So if you prefer that, it's a very nice one as well. When it comes to reinforcement, I don't think there's anything better than our boy Aldequin, right? Fields of Languish, very good defensively, and you can just bind it to Blessed Hammer and constantly proc it because you're just spamming Blessed Hammer anyway, right? Our divine gifts don't really matter too much. I'm gonna, quickly go over it. Essence of Lies gives you a bit of Fortify from Belial. It's basically the best options. These are all defensive stuff, right? Essence of Screens, 20% increased resistance from Andariel. Essence of Sin, 20% increased armor from Asmodan. And Essence of Pain, barrier every 20 seconds if you get low on HP from Duriel. The other options are not really that great, so for farming, when you're farming, just take the one that gives you the reward that you want. If you're pit pushing, go with this for once in the middle, right? And you can even take the ones outside out if you don't want to have to deal with the negative sides of them, right? When it comes to our consumables, very simple. When it comes to your elixir, crit chance or attack speed, depending on what you're missing. Ideally, you want to be running the attack speed one because it also gives you a bit of lucky hit, which then helps you proc more Blessed Hammers with our Morningstar, but it doesn't matter too much, just run the one that caps whatever you're missing. If you're not missing either attack speed or crit chance, you can also run the one that gives you 10% HP if you want. Incense though, 100% strength is just the best one. Also, you don't need all stats, you have a Shroud, just fills all the all stats you might want. Redmin Buzz, really nice and insane amount of life. You can run the armor one if you want a bit more damage, but you already have so much armor that it doesn't really matter. I'll just go with life. Last one, Soothing Spices, it's just basically the best one there, there's not really an option. A bit of increased resists and armor is very decent. But yeah guys, that's gonna be it for the video. I believe I covered everything I wanted to cover. If there's something I missed or something that I didn't properly explain and you still have some doubts, make sure to leave a comment down below. I'll try to answer all of them. And, you know, make sure to also leave some compliments in the comment section down below, right? It's also called the comment section, not just comments. I'm just kidding. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to get more Barbarian and Paladin builds. Now this is a Paladin channel as well, because I like to play both my warriors. I have the Unga Booga warrior, and we also have the Warrior of Light, which is the Paladin, right? I really enjoy both of those melee classes. They are basically what I play in World of Warcraft. I main Paladin, and my second is always a warrior. So, you know, I really love these two archetypes. I'm really excited that Paladin is in the game now. So yeah, they are what I'm going to be covering for basically the rest of Diablo 4 until we get Diablo 5. So yeah, if that's something that floats your boat, make sure to subscribe. And see you guys next time. You can also find me on Twitch if you want to see me playing the builds live, you know, and just say hi. Or if you want your questions answered, like if you see I'm live on Twitch, jump in there, I can instantly answer your question. Else you might have to wait a couple of hours until I actually check the comments. So yeah guys, thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.